Hello, my friends, and welcome back to KTB Creates. I'm excited to share a special announcement with you today, but for right now, let's get into our crafting. So for DIY number 1, you are going to need 3 of these little houses that you can find at the Dollar Tree. I have a stash of them, so I'm just going to reuse them. Now, I am going in with my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white, and I'm actually painting all around the inside frame and then the backing of the houses. Now, you will see later on in the DIY, I did decide to use some scrapbook paper, so you don't necessarily have to paint it completely. If you just get the back of the house around the edges, just in case you don't cut the scrapbook paper to fit perfectly. Once you're all finished with that, it will take 2 coats to fully paint all that. I just decided to go ahead and dry brush on some white paint around the outside edges of the house. Next, it's time to cut out some scrapbook paper. This paper I bought at Hobby Lobby. I absolutely love their scrapbook paper, so I just cut it out. I liked the red backing, and it does say Merry Christmas on the inside, so it just adds some interest to the DIY and helps to bring out the trees and the deer that we're going to use in it. So now I'm just going to take some of those beautiful little white Dollar Tree ornaments. I have a pack of the trees. I think I used 2 packs of the trees and then 1 pack of those beautiful white deer, and then also the Dollar Tree ornament, church ornament. So you want to gather those pieces. And as you can see here, I am just hot gluing them to the houses, and I'm cutting them and adjusting them accordingly and allowing them to look like more of a 3D look, if you would. So I'm trimming one tree and putting it towards the back of the house. And then you'll see the other tree I'm kind of attaching toward the front of the house just to give it a little bit of dimension. I am so excited with how this one came out. I think this is an adorable little decor setting that you can have anywhere in your home. I am just in love with the way this came. I didn't show this on camera, but I did at the end go ahead in and add some of that buffalo snow just to give it some added winter touch in there. And I think that adds a nice touch as well. So be sure to let me know. I always want to hear your thoughts down in the description box below. Let me know which one is your favorite DIY of the 4 that I'm doing here today. And before we go ahead and get into DIY number 2, I wanted to share an exciting announcement with you. I am participating today in Heidi Sonboul's Friend Friday Hop, along with all of these beautiful ladies sharing all of their Christmas DIYs as well. So when you're done watching here, be sure to click below in the description box and hop on to the next channel. We are offering this amazing giveaway today with all of your crafting supplies. So be sure to watch all the videos in the hop and you'll be able to come around full circle and be entered into the drawing. So for our next DIY, we are going to take 3 of the long like vertical signs. I had one left over from the fall, and then they obviously have little Christmas signs as well. So you're going to pull off that top tab, and then all you're going to do is I used some Gorilla Glue and glue each sign together, and then I'm hot gluing some popsicle sticks to the back just to give it a little bit more security and stability. So once you have that all glued together and that dries, we are going to go ahead in and paint it. I decided to use something that I had on hand for a while. It's by Valspar, and it's an antique glaze, very similar to Waverly's antique glaze. And I am just going to kind of dry brush that on to the sign on the back. The idea here is to make it look like a faux wood. So I start with a really light coat of that. And then I am also going to go in with some acrylic paint in 2 different shades just to give it a little bit of more of like a wooden tone. I will put the shades in the description box below just so you know what I used. And then you're just going to really dry brush both of those in until you're happy with the way that it looks. And it gives it a nice, sort of like a nice wood paneling type look. And that's the look we're going for. This project was actually inspired by something that I saw on Pinterest, but I decided to recreate it using only Dollar Tree items. So all the items in this project and all the projects that I'm doing today are all Dollar Tree items and very inexpensive to do. So once you're satisfied with the paint, you're then just going to take some twine and you're going to hot glue that to the back of the sign, and you're going to wrap it around like you see I'm doing here, and then hot glue the end piece as well. So if you hadn't realized, we're making kind of a holder for our Christmas cards or Christmas pictures and things like that that you want to hang. Next, I'm using little mini clothespins that I also found at the Dollar Tree. And I'm not hot gluing them or anything. I'm just clipping them right onto the twine. You probably don't need to use as many as I'm using here because once you start filling it in with cards and pictures, they might overlap each other a little bit. But I'm just showing you potentially how many you can put on the sign. And then you're going to leave a space at the top for some added touch. I wanted to stop here really quick to make sure that if you haven't already, please go ahead and click subscribe, and definitely check me out on Instagram and Facebook for more inspiration and more daily updates. So next, I just took a piece of vinyl and I cut that with my Silhouette Cameo, and I'm applying that to the top. You can also, if you don't have something like that, you can certainly use some Dollar Tree stickers or something of the sort just to add your little wording up the top that says Merry Mail. And then next, I'm just going to take some Christmas clips and I'm actually going to take them apart. These I purchased last year at the Dollar Tree and they have the little like clips that you can actually clip it onto something on the back. And it was a little too bulky, so I took them apart and I'm going to hot glue them all in pieces across the top just to give it some texture and just to add a little bit of a decorative touch to it. And this is how DIY number 2 turned out. I can't wait to use this for Christmas. I usually tape my cards and pictures on a door in our kitchen, but I'm excited to hang this year and add my Christmas cards as I get them to this sign. So let me know what you think below. Okay, so for DIY number 3, again, we're going to take another one of these long, narrow signs. You're going to rip off that top piece that says Let It Snow on it. And I'm going to flip it over and paint the back in white using my linen white chalk paint again. And you will need 2 coats for this. Make sure you do get all of the sides and make sure it's completely covered. So now we're going to go in and we're going to do some lines just with a ruler and a pencil just to make it a little bit more rustic because you know how much I love that farmhouse look. Normally when I do this look, I use a pencil and then I just use my finger to smudge the line, and I like usually how that looks. It makes it look a little bit worn and not so perfect, but you'll see I wasn't completely happy with this. I did also decide to add like 2 little nail heads to each corner of the board as well. This was also inspired by something I saw on Pinterest as well. and I am recreating it using Dollar Tree items and making it my own. I am just using the little filler pieces that you could get at the Dollar Tree to make a cute little mini wreath, as well as some of this pipberry that you can find at the Dollar Tree as well. I love this stuff. I started here by wrapping it around the little mini wreath, but I felt like I was wasting a lot of it. So all I am doing is just cutting it and laying it around the top of it. And I think that gives enough of a cute little added touch to make the wreath. So I'm just deciding where to position that right there. And then I decided to go back in and paint on the lines with some black acrylic paint and paint in those little nail holes. Not perfectly, just to make it look a little bit worn, but to stand out a little bit more. Then I'm going to take a piece of this chalkboard sheet that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and I am using my Silhouette Cameo to create this vinyl wording that says believe. And I'm just going to attach that right to that chalkboard sticker just to give it some added dimension. Again, you can use your Dollar Tree stickers for this as well. And next year, all we're going to do is attach a little ribbon. This ribbon I did get at the, Hobby Lobby last year. And it just says Merry Christmas on it, but I love it. I wasn't completely happy with the way that I felt like the edges looked unfinished, or there's something unfinished with it that I wasn't happy with. So I just decided to go in and add little lines with a white chalk pen. So that's what I'm doing here. And I just love the way this came. You're just going to hot glue your ribbon to the back of the sign. And then I created a very simple bow to add to the front. And again, this is a beautiful decor piece to add to any space in your home. And on to our fourth and final DIY, you are going to need one of these green foam wreath forms from the Dollar Tree, as well as 2 of the buffalo check placemats. So we're going to start by cutting the placemats in strips, in the strips of the buffalo check, if that makes sense. And you'll see what I'm doing here, and it'll make better sense. Now, I did switch to some pinking shears, but I will say that it really doesn't make that much of a difference, and scissors are easier to use. So definitely just use a regular pair of scissors for this. So you're going to just carefully cut these strips until you cut through the whole placemat. And then once you are done with that, this comes a little bit of a tedious part here, but in between the layers of the buffalo check and the back of the placemat is red. There's a white like interfacing in there. So we are going to have to remove that. Now, one placemat, it was very easy to do. It like ripped right off. The other one gave me a little bit of trouble. So just an FYI with that. But in any case, it didn't take too long to rip them apart. So you're going to separate the pieces, and you're going to use the red backing as well as the front with the buffalo check. Then you are all set to start attaching the strips to the wreath form. And you're just going to alternate the strips of red with the strips of buffalo check. And I am double knotting them onto the wreath form, and then I just keep sliding them together just so you can't see too much of the wreath form. And you'll continue doing that, obviously, until you make your way around the entire wreath. And then once you complete that, I just took a buffalo check ornament from the Dollar Tree, tied it to the top with some twine, and here is your finished wreath. As always, I hope you enjoyed all of these DIYs. Please go ahead and let me know in the comment section below which one of these was your favorite. Also, make sure to check out the instructions for the Friend Friday Hop. You're not going to want to miss this. We are doing an amazing giveaway, so you definitely want to follow the complete hop, watch all of the videos, and comment on all of the videos to be entered into the drawing. You are not going to want to miss it. It's an amazing group of all kinds of cool craft products and accessories and things like that. That is basically a crafter's dream. So be sure to enter. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I will see you all very soon.